I'm an artist with 90K monthly listeners on Spotify. I've totaled almost 1.6 million streams across my catalog, and 3 of my songs have been placed on 5 different editorial playlists. But here's the thing, I'm an independent artist, meaning I own all my masters and don't have to answer to any label. Today I'm going to tell you how I got to this point so you can potentially do the same. No, I'm not going to sell you a course at the end of this video, but I do recommend you watch the whole way through. So without further ado, how do we get here? To give you some perspective, I started releasing music on June 17th, 2016. At the time, I was 15 years old and a sophomore in high school. My music gained no traction, I had no source of income, but I had the drive to make my passion for music a career. So in 2018, I did what any teenager would do nowadays and started posting videos on YouTube.
What's up guys, my name is Adriel Rivera.
You actually might have found me through one of the several music production videos I've released over the years, because this is actually how I started to gain my initial following. Okay, so what? What does any of this have to do with Spotify and reaching 90,000 monthly listeners? In 2020, my Spotify was sitting around a few hundred to 1,000 monthly listeners after growing it through YouTube content organically. However, I wasn't satisfied. I always considered myself an artist first, but I barely released any music. In 2018, I only released 1 song. It was that bad. So I decided to change things. I implemented a strategy I like to call the every 25th strategy, and this is when I really started to see some growth on Spotify. With the release of my EP Nostalgia Hits on September 25th, 2020, I made a pledge to my following that every month on the 25th, I would release a new song and have been ever since. Along with my monthly releases, I decided to use the bit of income that I made from YouTube to run Facebook ads and Instagram ads for every release, putting in about $100 a month. Now, even without putting a budget towards marketing, every song I release gets at least a few thousand streams organically. Now, this might not be for everyone. What's important to you as an artist is finding a strategy that resonates and works well for you. But for me, this is the strategy that has made all the difference. And after doing this for almost 2 years, there's 3 reasons as to why this strategy is so effective: consistency, expectation, and snowball. Let's start off with consistency because everything sort of ties back to this. You hear it all the time. Consistency is key. It's true for many reasons, but I don't think I fully understand what those reasons were until I started doing it. Having a consistent schedule forces you to practice making music, and the more you practice, the better you get. This isn't just in terms of mixing and mastering quality either. With the more songs you release, the more you get to experiment and find your sound. Finding your unique sound sets you apart from other artists and gives people a reason to fall in love with your music specifically. I'm gonna be honest with you, fans have told me that I have a unique sound, but I personally have no idea what that sound is. I just make the music that I like to make, but I think that's kind of the point. The more you release, the more you start to realize what kind of music you do and don't like to make, and your unique sound starts to develop naturally. Along with that, you get more opportunities when you release consistently. You can pitch upcoming songs through Spotify for artists to be placed on editorial playlists, which are playlists curated by Spotify's editorial team of genre specialists. These playlists can have active followings reaching the millions, giving your music more exposure while growing your fan base. I personally found some of my favorite artists through editorial playlists and have gotten over 25,000 listeners on the playlist I've previously been placed on. The catch is that you can only pitch 1 song at a time, so the more singles you release, the more opportunities you get to pitch. So release consistently. Next, let's talk about expectation. When you have a monthly release schedule, you build an expectation for your audience that there will be a new song every month. Some of you might be thinking, ew, expectations? I don't want to have any of those on me. But having expectations isn't a bad thing. This is actually great for you because now your fan base is excited. They know you have a new release every month, so they're waiting eagerly to see what's coming next. This is how you build that dedicated core audience, because when people get sucked into your loop of monthly releases, it's hard to get out of. Expectation combined with consistency creates the snowball. Every month you release, you're getting new fans while simultaneously having returning fans from the previous month. This means that every month your pool of listeners is compounding. This ramp of listeners is exactly what's required to give your songs that good quality data to drive it in Spotify's algorithm. Once your song gets pushed by the algorithm, your reach of listeners expands way further than it was before. Where you might have been getting a few hundred listeners, you might now find yourself in the thousands because people are finally responding to what you're putting out. Now, I don't want to sound like this is all there is to being an artist. Branding is important, content is important. There are so many other things you have to do to get your name out there than just releasing music. I know I mentioned the algorithm a lot towards the end of this video, so if you want to know a bit more about how Spotify's algorithm works and why it's extremely important for growing your audience on Spotify, I recommend you check out this video right here. Thank you so much for watching. Show your genius.